Hey everyone, Caleb Masters here, and as I noted in our previous episode, due to my move to the Seattle area, we're going to be shifting to some less regular programming over the next month or so, and we're going to kick that off with a special bonus review of the upcoming Netflix release House of Dynamite from director Kathryn Bigelow, and this is actually a special treat for you all. I got to sit down and do the review with GoodTrash Media's Arthur Gordon and Dalton Stuart. This is part of their Garbage Chute special programming. A House of Dynamite is being released in limited theaters on October 10th. That is going to be here in a day or so. And then it'll receive a full streaming debut globally on Netflix on October 24th. Thanks to Netflix for providing us with that advanced movie screener. And I hope you'll sit back, relax, and enjoy this edition of the Garbage Chute from GoodTrash Media. And make sure to like and subscribe and follow their show.
All day talking about it.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Good Trash Garbage Chute, where members of the Good Trash Media crew and friends make it out to the Talking Picture Show to see what's new. I am Arthur Gordon. I am joined by my partner in crime, Dalton Stewart.
Hi there.
And we are sitting alongside the co-host, executive producer, director, mind behind the cinematic schematic, Caleb Masters.
Rambling talking head, Caleb Masters. Let's go. Are you ready to blow some stuff up in the sequel to Black Dynamite that I've always wanted? No?
It's like hitting a podcast with a podcast. That's what we've done here today.
God, such a good line.
We all had an opportunity to catch up with Kathryn Bigelow's new Netflix joint, A House of Dynamite, coming to Netflix after a limited theatrical debut on October 10th. I believe it arrives on Netflix October 24th. There we go. Thanks, Dalton. Streaming everywhere, worldwide, to watch. And just in time for Thanksgiving when everybody wants to sit down and watch a movie.
The big family movie, yeah.
Yeah, something great for you to give your family something to talk about.
Today, I'm going to give you a rundown of the movie, and then we're going to give you our reactions to what we saw and maybe a little move into spoiler territory to talk about some things. We'll see what happens.
It's hard to talk about the structure of this one without spoiling. Maybe
yeah, I know.
We might have to jump into it pretty quick.
Broad, quick review,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can move into spoilers because you're right. The structure does. I mean, and then the end. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But a log line from Netflix is when a single unattributed missile is launched at the United States, a race begins to determine who is responsible and how to respond. A House of Dynamite is directed by Kathryn Bigelow, written by Noah Oppenheim, not to be confused with Oppenheimer, produced by Greg Shapiro, Kathryn Bigelow, Noah Oppenheim, director of photography, Barry Ackroyd, production design, Jeremy Hindle, costume design, Sarah Edwards. I'm telling you all this because this is all of the for-year considerations that will be sent out in roughly a few weeks to get Oscar award acclaim. And I could easily see this probably falling into a 10 picture category. It has that sort of lineage and DNA. Movie's rated R, runs just under 2 hours, and again, coming to Netflix. And so this is Kathryn Bigelow's follow-up to Detroit from... Anybody know the year on Detroit?
Oh, gosh.
16, 17?
17
I wanna say
sounds
17.
right. Has it really been that long since
Yeah,
she released a
it's
movie?
been a long
2017.
time.
Wowza.
Yeah, 8 years since Detroit, and then 5 years before that was Zero Dark 30, and then 3 years before that was The Hurt Locker.
4 years even.
4 years?
Yeah.
2008, right,
Yeah.
wins in 09.
Yeah.
So yeah, an outfit that has slowed down a bit in recent years, but always an interesting voice. One I enjoy largely what I've seen, even going back to her semi-art house roots.
Loveless,
to,
yeah, man.
What she does today.
Can I tell you a good joke?
Yes.
From friend of the show, Harper.
Go ahead.
Kathryn Bigelow, female director. Sort of a deuce. It's kind of
Deuce Bigelow.
And also, that's just how people talk about Kathryn Bigelow.
Oh, female director.
Yeah,
Kathryn
exactly.
Bigelow.
Yeah, exactly. Just
You mean James Cameron's
Yeah, I was gonna
ex-wife?
say, you mean the ex-wife of James Cameron?
Big
Jim?
This is a brainworm I've had all day, though.
So yeah, this is this is somewhere between a failsafe and a Doctor Strangelove type movie. It is a hypothetical setup of this bomb headed to America. Who could it be now? We don't know. We may find out. We may not find out. Gentlemen, we were blessed to be able to see a Netflix film in a theater, which does not happen often.
Treat.
I think generally, are we fans of Kathryn Bigelow?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know Dalton, you've had some back and forth mixed feelings on Zero Dark, but
I need to rewatch it as a 30-something.
Yeah.
I need to revisit it and see how much I feel like it's laundering the reputation of criminals.
yeah, we were sort of talking about it at the screening. That
Yeah.
it does have this maybe Fight Club aura of taking the wrong thing away from it because
Several of her movies do, frankly.
things are cool, guys.
Well, and that's what's interesting about Detroit, right? Which I am still behind on. I think it's her only film I haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen Detroit, and I haven't seen the Strange Days, and Blue Steel, I guess.
Oh, I haven't seen Blue Steel. Okay,
There's a few I'm missing.
Strange Days rocks.
I hear that.
Yeah. Detroit's so interesting because she spent so much of her career interested in like law enforcement professionals, and for Detroit to be so definitively a like you can't trust these guys movie is a very interesting sort of turn for her, and a big cash in of her blank check powers. So I'm very interested in this move from her, which is sort of more a move into like a bureaucratic thriller, right? Still kind of the same sorts of like type A, married to the
This
job
is the second
professionals.
act of Zero Dark 30.
Yeah, in many ways, right? Like what comes next after the
To
war
an
on terror?
extent.
Because we open with this sort of like cold open on-screen text about how like, guess what? The age of nuclear
After the Cold
deceleration
War,
is
yeah.
over.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. I just can't let it slide. And I really did like this movie quite a lot. And I had heard that people at certain festivals had laughed at parts of this movie. And I was like, well, a Kathryn Bigelow movie? That seems wild out of character. And yet, you get the big Netflix ba-boom, and then all of a sudden, you just get like a Dune-esque, like, whoa. I'm like, where's the worm? When's it showing up? And then it cuts to a shaky cam. It took me about 5 minutes to start taking this movie seriously. Now, once I got into that, because it just felt so self-serious, there's a flashing text on the screen that I was like, whoa, this movie's head is way up its own ass. But then we got past the first 5 minutes, and I locked in. But I also think that I was deterred by the first 5 minutes.
Interesting. What about you?
No, I was pretty locked in. I don't even remember what the title card said, other than post Cold War something happened.
War. It was like the age of nuclear war disarmament is over.
Yeah, but I am a huge sucker for putting the pieces on the board montage, and that's what we get.
Yeah, man.
It's just, here are your players. Now let's see what they're doing.
Yep.
And I am a sucker for that. And so I guess we can move from there.
Fail-Safe's one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I was going to be on board for this.
I mean, I'm a huge procedural guy, courtrooms, detectives, and this is a lot of, what's happening, where the sausage gets made kind of a thing going on for it. And so, but let's go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and do some broad review type stuff because, again, there's some things we can't really get into without getting into spoilers. So, Caleb, just quick thumbs up, thumbs down. What are the things, the big takeaways that you have with A House of Dynamite?
I really like it. I wouldn't say I quite love it. I think it gets some of the dialogue gets a little hokey at times. And there are times as well as good as it looks and how well produced the script at times feels a little made for TV movie. However, I think when this movie is impactful, it ratchets the tension up. Like you said, once all the players are on the board, I'm leaning in. We won't talk about the structure yet, but they do some really... I start asking questions in Act 1 that I'm like, I wonder how that's going to pay off, and it does something totally different than what I expected in Act 2 to address those questions, and I thought that was a way to just keep me locked in and reeling me in. I mean, the cast, Idris Elba, Rebecca Ferguson, Jared Harris, Oklahoma's Tracy Letts, Anthony Ramos, Moses Ingram, Greta Lee. I mean, there's so many.
Crazy cast.
And they're all great. They all they don't all like most of them. It's like small scenes, small roles, but they have huge impact. So yeah, I really am into this movie. I think in terms of it's like mid-pack Kathryn Bigelow for me, but I will say this too: it is a very impactful film. It has a very impactful ending, and we were just talking about another podcast that you'll hear in the future. It's taken swings, and for me, the swings really pay off. I'm really curious to see how general audiences are going to respond to it, though.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking a lot about audience today. I would love to sit in a theater with 50, 60-year-old people and watch this because it feels like that is who's going to want to watch this movie. And I don't know if they're going to have Netflix accounts to do so, which is maybe unfortunate. Dalton, What did you think? Broad overview, thumbs up, thumbs down. Think about House of Dynamite.
I'm pretty on board with this.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish there was more. I wish it didn't feel 10 years too late in many ways, right? Like the game has changed, and I feel like they're kind of one step behind on where we are at culturally, because it's not the Department of Defense anymore. It's the Department of War, and it's run by a literal Nazi. So it is kind of insane to try and like do the mental exercise of like, okay, can I remember what the Obama years were like? And you kind of have to remember a time in your life when you thought the federal government was run by competent professionals who are married to their jobs. Again, I'm with you. I love that kind of movie. I love jargon. I love acronym. I love an on-screen text explaining what an acronym means. Yeah, come on.
Also, really cool way they did that in the movie visually.
Yeah, very, very fun stuff with the on-screen text. I'm pretty much on board with this. I wish it was more. I wish there was more. I wish it said more. And again, like part of that is the feeling like it's 10 years too late. Part of that is the structure they choose to go with and the story they choose to tell. But by and large, yeah, I find it to be a very engrossing procedural. It's probably middle of the pack for Bigelow, as you said, Caleb. Probably middle of the pack for the year so far for me. But I'm into it. I think it's cool. What about you?
I'm really trying to temper my feelings on this because I was locked in last night or at the screening that we attended last night as we're recording this. But again, just the idea of the procedural, the idea of being able to ratchet the tension in such a way that we see here across all three acts without getting too much into the weeds of the structure, but being on the edge of my seat in all three acts, even though I have information about those acts.
Yeah, the construction of it's really impressive in that way.
To me, and I'm always a sucker. I mean, I was thinking a lot about Argo because I think Argo is so well directed and well edited because I know it's based on a true story. But the tension that is built by the end of Argo is like, are they going to get out of here? Like, I know how it ends, but every time I watch it, I'm still like, I am invested in what's going on the screen. And that's how I felt here. I made a mention to you after the words. It felt very Tony Scott in a lot of ways. I was thinking a lot of Unbreakable or Unstoppable.
Very Crimson Tide as well.
Yeah, and Crimson Tide, of course. And I was just thinking about, man, what if Denzel was here? What if Hackman was here? What if Pine was here? What if, those Tony Scott players were here?
Dude, if they could have gotten Denzel for the Idris role. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I love Idris.
Idris is great at
Dalton
this.
was next to me as soon as Idris' voice was on screen. Like,
we looked at each other like, yeah, come on.
Of course he is. And so, I mean, again, I was going to be questioning maybe some of the casting because we don't see Idris for a while. We hear him, but we don't see Idris
admittedly did not. So I knew he was in this movie, but didn't know he was in this movie. So
I knew I saw his name attached to it, so I kept waiting.
Yeah. So yeah, we won't. I'm teetering around spoilers, but yes, his introduction is great, and also his lack of introduction at first was had me thinking different things.
Yeah, it's very smart the way they choose to do it. Yeah,
and I really do think the screenplay, the bones of this are incredibly solid. I think to a couple of your points, again, I'm a lot warmer on it than either of you are. Again, I kind of want to maybe temper some of that because I do think there are some flaws, and I don't want to be just caught up in, as far as like a suspense thriller, this is way up that scale for me. But if we're thinking a bigger picture of content and what this means, we can maybe temper some of that and get into spoilers. But cast, yes, it's a huge ensemble, but I do question some of that casting. Like Caitlin Deaver's here for one scene,
right?
Greta Lee for one scene.
What is this just so like really hit that SAG Ensemble Award nomination, or is this like? Because there are character. I mean, we get Tracy Letts, we got Jared Harris, we've got character actors sitting in some of these roles.
It's such a good Tracy Letts performance.
It is, yeah.
Ooh,
really
so
enjoyed
good
that
in this.
And and then of course some stud casting with an Idris Elba or whatever. Like, and Rebecca Ferguson, great here. Had to double check the name because I always mix her up with Hall, no matter how many times I've seen her and stuff. But I do question some of that casting because I don't understand that end game, because I think you could find a character actress who's just as good as Caitlin Deaver. I love Caitlin Deaver, but it just felt weird to have that one bit.
Kind of a big actor for that one scene.
Yeah,
role,
and again, that's me as film dude who's seen a lot of movies and seen a lot of TV who knows Caitlin Deaver.
Yeah.
Now if somebody else comes in, they're like, who's Greta Lee? I don't know. They haven't seen Past Lives, right? Like, I understand that disconnect as well. And then I think to Dalton's point is, what's it saying? is going to be at the end of the day. Like, I love the structure, I love the ending and the choices, but thematically, I don't know what this is wanting me to
What does
react
it
or
all
respond
mean,
to.
Basil?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I mean, I read that a little differently. It's not pointed in what it's saying. But I mean, I feel like there's some clear takeaways. Or at least, maybe not clear takeaways, clear questions to take away.
And that
to be sleeping on.
feels like a good segue.
I think so. Now we are going to move into major spoiler territory for A House of Dynamite. If you don't want this movie spoiled, stop right now.
Should we
and come
do
back
recommendations
after
real
you
quick?
stream it? Well, we'll be fine.
Okay.
We'll
Good.
be fine. They can figure it out from what we've said, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
They're smart, competent people listening to this podcast, I hope. So, okay, there are I don't know how spoilery I want to get. Okay, let's just do this. The major caveat of this film is that we see over the 3 acts of the movie the same 20-minute sequence of events unfold from 3 different perspectives. We see it from the initial setup of Rebecca Ferguson, Anthony Ramos, Jason
Isaac,
Clark,
or Clark. I always want to call him Isaac.
and a few other players in the initial setup. And we see them realizing at different points they're all stationed in different places.
Yeah.
Ramos is
works on a missile base in Alaska.
and then Ferguson's in
missile
like a
defense
control
system.
room,
Yeah.
and like they're all in different areas of the government and military. And we see the launch and reckoning of this bomb from their perspective. What are we going to do? What does the president want to do? How do we cope with this? And in this sequence, a lot of people are on the Zoom call or a phone call. Then we get the next chapter, which takes us back to the beginning of the movie from perspectives of new characters that have maybe been seen in the background or maybe been heard in the background.
Appeared on the Zoom call.
Yeah, the thing I didn't mention in my review is that this movie is deathly funny.
Oh yeah, it's really funny.
It's got a really kind
so
of
Tracy
sharp.
Letts has
Tracy
both
Letts
the most
is very
impactful,
funny.
like dramatic moments, but he also has the best comedy lines, in my opinion.
There's that, but there's just also some great iconography humor. Like there's a bit with a TV and a TV repairman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But there's also in the initial Zoom call, there's a bit of a guy on the call who doesn't really feel like he fits in with everybody else.
ends up being one of my favorite
But then he
characters.
gets paid off in the next act. So
Yeah.
like,
well, how you first see him, he's running on his phone, and
Yeah.
then you see him running, and everyone laughs at him.
Yeah.
And later, you're like, oh, we're gonna get that story. Okay,
And so like it really has that fun, Daniel Bokemper, friend of the show, cinematic schematic guest, often mentioned Rashomon afterwards, which
Totally.
has that vibe.
I kept
it
joking
has,
this could also be called Weapons.
I was gonna say Weapons is the other one.
Yeah.
I think this is more effective in its narrative structure than Weapons.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because it's about 5 chapters shorter than
Yeah,
Weapons,
well,
and
there's that,
they're all
yeah.
a lot more relevant to what's going on. I think.
See,
But,
that's
that's a
interesting.
different
Okay.
thing.
Different
It's a
conversation. Different
I'm
day.
just going to go ahead and take my shots at Weapons while I
yeah,
can.
no, take your drive by.
So catching strays, Weapons. But yeah, that's the big thing here is that instead of a traditional 3-act structure, we just see the same thing.
Yeah.
3 times from different perspectives,
and it's like structured to. I mean, at least my initial takeaway is you sort of start with Act 1 as like the lowest level team, and then
Yeah.
it moves up to like your like generals and mid level, and then
Yeah.
you finally get to Act
Yeah,
3.
'cause
it's the
chapter 3 is the
president.
president.
You get the Department of
SecDef,
Secretary of
yeah.
Defense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to the ladder, kind of the organizational ladder goes up as we go through the movie.
Yeah.
And then we get the ending.
Yep.
And that's the thing. And so I don't know where you guys want to go with it.
I like
Dalton,
it-
you've said you're not sure. I'm kind of uncertain about not necessarily like what it's saying, but just like what do we do with what it's saying. Caleb, you've got some ideas. So
Yeah, you
let's
got
throw
one.
stuff out there.
What do we do with what it's saying? Well, I don't have answers to that. I think
What is it? I mean, what do you think got here?
I think this movie is trying to make it explicit. It's trying to educate the American public, or not even just, frankly, not even just the American public, global, first world countries who have nuclear bombs on them. We are, as you said, one bad day away from everything we're getting screwed. The whole world could end. Like one bad day away. And there's this idea that Idris is talking about. He's like, well, we've got all these plans and we all made all these preparations. We did all this work so that if this would never happen, because everyone would think we're so prepared they wouldn't dare touch us, that there was no way a nuclear bomb could launch. But in reality, this movie is dismantling that narrative because we have the whole thing with whatever the missile they were launching at the nuke to stop it. We
The
find
counter-defense
the counter defense,
system,
which we
yeah.
see fail. We see it 3 times, fail 3 times, but the third time or it's like, I guess second time, the Secretary of Defense is like, we spent $60 billion for a thing that only has like a 58% chance to succeed.
Yeah,
It's a coin toss
for a fucking coin toss is what he says. And, which that's kind of a cool, like, moments like that where people say things are like kind of gangster lines are kind of just thrown out there without any like pomp or circumstance the first time you hear them, when they're like just on the other end of the phone, and then you get it from that person's POV really in like a tight close up, and it's like that's them like letting a lot of emotion out, right? Yeah, I think that structure of like hearing specific lines of dialogue multiple times ends up being like really satisfying in a way I didn't expect it to, because when I first figured out the game of the movie, I was like, whoa, are we ever going to get past, spoiler, Chicago getting absolutely wiped off the map? Like, are we ever going to get any further than that?
And frankly, don't even know if it got wiped off the map, because as the guy,
they don't go off all the time.
They don't always go off. They malfunction.
Yeah, and we never know. We never get confirmation on if the ICBM, which hilarious that's what they're called. We never get confirmation that once it touches down, does it detonate? And we just kind of end on
what's the president going to do?
On what is Idris going to do? A house of dynamite. And again, like I'm with you, Caleb. I'm like, what do we do with that? Because again, we're as of the time we're recording this, we're living in a moment where the president of Colombia is calling on the nations of the world to like assemble an army to stop America and Israel from committing a genocide.
Right.
Kind of weird time to be living in.
Well, and that's what makes this complicated, because I think the what do we do with it is I think, at least my take is that the idea is she's trying to educate the general public on just how volatile the situation we live in on a global scale actually is.
Which is like,
and it's why we should, get educated about how this stuff works. Appreciate quality government work, competence porn as it's called. A lot of like these people who are government workers are really good at this job. Again, to your point, all of this feels like it's about 5 or maybe even 10 years too late. Yep. But I think that she really wants people to walk away saying, man, it's really important that we get a good people in these positions to be able to discern and navigate these extremely tense situations where there's really not clear-cut right or wrong answers.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of allusions, or not allusions, just outright statements from different people. Like, we were trained on this, kind of. Like,
we didn't think it would happen.
There was like a seminar, and
we trained on the more likely.
Who thought it would happen?
We trained more on the more likely stuff.
Yeah.
Who
thought this could occur?
Well, and they're even like, oh, well, that someone at one point says, well, the missile thing failed, but we've got backups, right? And they're like, nope, that was it.
That's it.
That was the shot.
We shoot a bullet at a bullet and hope it works.
Yeah. And so it does underscore, I think, to Caleb's point, it's important to have competent people making decisions that affect the globe.
Yeah.
Not just a state or nation, but the world.
I mean, it's the problem with like
when we get into some of the options the president has, it is full out wipe out everything.
Rare, medium, and well done. Yeah, it's weird to, because we are such a nuclear armed to the teeth with nuclear weapons country. It is weird that we also live in a country and culture that treats politics like sports, right? Like, it is like so much wrapped up in like identity and teams, and people don't really see, again, the big beautiful bill will go into effect in the start of next year, and that's going to change a lot of stuff for the worse. A lot of people are going to experience a lot of upheaval because of that, and so it's very weird to live in a country that doesn't really seem to, our populace doesn't take our responsibility seriously. You know what I mean?
I think, well, yeah. And again, this is why I think, at least my read on this is an education tool.
Yeah.
Trying to inform people, because there's also baked into a lot of American politics is, they're so incompetent, blah, blah, blah. They make decisions I don't like, they must suck at their job. And it's like, no, actually the people who get in those positions have probably were, generally speaking, up until the last couple administrations, have worked extremely hard to get in those positions, and they know their stuff. They're really smart. They're the best of the best.
They're married to the job. Yeah,
and that's not necessarily the case anymore.
Yeah, and again, like, this is very much in that lane of competency porn, as you said, Caleb, of just like, isn't it cool to watch people who are good at their jobs do their jobs? This is kind of a interesting flip side of it, where it's like, and even if you're good at your job, some situations are just
out of the realm
all
of
fails.
Yeah.
There's
no winning.
Kobayashi Maru, right?
Yeah.
Yep. There's simply no win scenarios.
Well, and that's why it's important to have, again, my takeaway is that's why it's so important to value those jobs, value quality leadership. And I'm not just, to your point, Dalton, not the sports team leadership, like people who actually, there's a threat and a crisis happening. You trust that person is going to try to think of all the options quickly. They're going to lean on expertise and like make the best call. We don't know whether he just makes the best call. We know that he's going to make a call that he believes is the best. We don't know whether we agree with him. We don't know the outcomes of what his decisions are, or we don't even know if he makes a decision. And I think that's why they want the audience to be laying in bed thinking about like, man, it's really important that if that were to happen, that there's someone really smart and thoughtful driving the flight,
which is really interesting. We get like it's like the deputy. It's not even the national security advisor. It's like his deputy is the guy saying, don't do anything.
Yeah.
He's the only person who says, I think I know what we should do, and it's nothing.
Yeah.
We just got to let this play out.
Well, I think to Caleb's point, like, thinking about the civic responsibility of the local level, right? I think what Caleb's kind of alluding to here. And I think the film reinforces that because, as Caleb pointed out, I think very rightly so, is the sort of organizational structure. Like, typically when we see situation rooms or war rooms in a movie, it's, it is chief of staff and president, vice president, whoever, right? But the fact that we've got the low level, I mean, they're
still working in Washington.
They work on nukes for the federal government,
As far as this movie is concerned, they are base workers, right?
Coming in. Chart,
Yeah, I mean, one guy's trying to propose to his fiance. Like, I mean, that's his day.
He's connecting phone calls. Yeah. Like, he's high ranking in the U.S. military. He's
an operator.
Yeah.
And so, but if you don't have somebody competent there, if you don't have somebody competent as Rebecca Ferguson's character, if you don't have somebody competent in those positions at FEMA or wherever, then the support for, because it's a deputy, as you said, that is providing wisdom and insight and solutions that nobody else is thinking of, right? And so it does have to have that competency, I think, as Caleb said, from the ground level up to make change and to make a difference and have an impact, right? You can put whoever you want in the White House, but if every other level is incompetent, then if is overly competent,
right? Because that's where Tracy Letts comes in.
Yeah,
he is overly competent. He's like, I am telling you, if you don't do this now, we can't do it. So you have to do it now.
Yeah.
And that is like that's like the posturing that the NSA or the National Security Deputy like advises against, is like, no. That's what escalates. Putting your hand on the gun is the thing that escalates. Don't do it. Like, don't fall into the trap. We are like inviting more attacks.
Yeah, Tracy Letts is saying we kill some or we kill all.
Yeah.
And he's saying there's a third option. Yeah. And it's wait.
Yep. It's take the L.
Yeah. And see what is going on.
It's especially interesting in this era where like our country has become a full pariah state, right? We're on the international stage. We are.
Yeah.
I mean, we were always unpopular, like even before the war on terror kicks off. Like even growing up as a kid, I remember like this idea of us having sort of a bad reputation internationally as a people. And it's only gotten worse, especially in the last year. And it is so jarring to think about, like, we are on a precipice of like, we've got a lot of very powerful enemies, and it doesn't take a lot of brain power to say, kind of would make sense for all those countries to say, maybe we should team up on those guys.
Yeah.
We all have a lot not in common, but we all hate those guys.
Yeah.
And like, that's a really scary time to be living in, especially when, as we've been alluding to, such terrifying, incompetent people have their hands on the wheels.
Yeah. Well, the Sinister Six formed at some point, right? So,
yeah.
All right. Well, any final thoughts on A House of Dynamite coming soon to a limited theatrical release and Netflix worldwide?
Stressful.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Not a movie to watch if you're trying to quit smoking.
No. It's a tough one to recommend, especially in the current state of the United States, but I do think it's important. I think it's valuable, and I think it's one where I recommend this to people with a caveat of like, it's going to be a stressful watch, and just know you're going in to enjoy the ride, but also like learn a few things, and also maybe not maybe be thinking about it for a few days. And I hope that's successful, because I think the thing is, they're just
old school Netflix, right?
Exactly.
It's like a provocative adult drama from a serious auteur, and they seem to have just kind of let her do her thing and not given her any notes.
It's the best Netflix movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Killer, I think, is the last Netflix movie I liked.
Was it last year? 2 years ago?
I think it's 2 years ago.
The last one I really went for is Pinocchio.
Okay. I just think, I did love Pinocchio. I just think like there is, I'm not here to like talk down, and because I'm in that group, I learned a lot. I genuinely learned a lot watching this movie. I just think there's such a lack of education around what goes into government work like this, that this movie hopefully at least gets people thinking about it. So anyway, I recommend it on those grounds. That, like, I think that you'll learn a lot, you'll have a good time, and boy, oh boy, you're going to be stressed the F out.
Yeah, if you've got this playing at a theater near you, it's going to have its limited theatrical release starting October 10th. Yeah, go see this with a room. You know, I think you get some weird gasps. There are some weird laugh lines. You know, I think this with a crowd of strangers would make for an interesting afternoon. Like, this is a perfect Saturday matinee movie.
I know I laughed when the title card popped at the very end of the movie because it was just like, oh,
that's the end.
That's the end.
I guess.
Same.
So yeah, there are some very funny moments, and there are some just like, laughter is the only way I can cope with what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of laughed for both reasons, both because I feel like it was kind of silly writing, but also because it's deeply sad when the Secretary of Defense just jumped off the building. I was like, oh, I mean, that's kind of funny, but also because it feels kind of silly, but also, oh man, that's depressing.
As soon as we heard a ruckus that we didn't see what the cause of it was in Act 2, I was like,
wondering.
Somebody loses their marbles at some point in this. Yeah.
So. I mean, if you get a chance, I mean, I'm always going to advocate for being able to see Netflix stuff in a theater because it should be seen in a theater instead of just buried on their streaming service under whatever menu no one's ever going to find, unfortunately. A system I still do not understand.
Bad interface.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a strong, entry from Bigelow. I think it's just a great, taut thriller, an adult movie, like in the sense of, this is what movies used to kind of be.
For grown-ups.
Yeah. And I think that's a merit as well.
Yeah.
And so
it's probably going to get, I don't want to go category by category, but I expect to see it get some technical awards at the Oscars, probably a Best Picture nom.
I could see definitely maybe some editing. I definitely could see a Best Picture nomination.
Depending on how they're feeling cinematography, too, if they like the shaky cam.
Yeah. I agree. I think there's a few places I could see a SAG nomination as well. Because
I'm curious. It's not been really well received by the people who've seen it so far. At least
I can understand
my
why.
Letterboxd following.
Yeah, and I can understand why. I think. But I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And if you don't catch it in theaters, I think it's definitely worth a couple hours on Netflix.
Definitely.
If you don't have Netflix, I wouldn't probably subscribe to Netflix to do that because their plans are
Just
stupid
not that
and outrageous.
Good. Yeah, it's not that good.
I mean, I guess subscribe and then watch Mudbound and Cuba and not Cuba. What's
Roma?
Roma.
Yeah, knock out the good stuff and get out.
Yeah, just get the best out of your $18 or whatever it is nowadays.
Oh no, it's 25.
Oof.
Well, at least for the premium plan.
You know who?
Look,
I can think of one Netflix character who would hate that. Mank.
Netflix, thanks for allowing us to come see your movie in theaters. But hey, if you're going to make people pay to have ads on your service, don't put stuff behind a paywall. Put all your catalog movies available to watch with ads if that's going to be your model.
Preach.
You know what? It is what it is. It's the system we're living in, and
line has to go up or someone will die.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, Dalton. Sorry, I don't know what just happened in my throat. Caleb, where can we find you and what's going on in your professional world here?
Oh, yeah. Of course, you can find me over at the Cinematropolis.com, where we have thoughtful conversations on film. Most regularly, we have the Schematic podcast with me and co-host Laurent Chapman, usually a couple of other people of interest in specifically Oklahoma film community, but also online. Short version, I am in the process of about to relocate across the country to the Seattle area, so by the time this drops, we'll probably be in a little bit of a transition period on the podcast. A few lo-fi reviews between the months of October and November, but if you're not, we're back to our regularly scheduled programming, albeit not recorded in a home studio, sadly, but online in time for the holiday season. Something can Wake Up Dead Man, of course. Big Jim's Avatar Fire and Ash. Gotta get that one.
Yeah.
But also a lot of the actually quality prestige award season movies. So check us out, Cinematropolis.com. I am on Letterboxd and Instagram at SeedMasterStock.
Dalton, where can they talk to us?
They can talk to me at Dollywood Squares. They can talk to you at VR Arthur Gordon. They can find this show at GoodTrash Media. And you can send us long-form emails to goodtrashgenrecast@gmail.com. Can't think of anything else. That's the plugs, right? Oh, and go to patreon.com/GTM if you want to help us keep the lights on.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Good Trash Garbage Chute, and we will see you next time.